Hi. Okay. So. I think I clicked that once before on accident. All right. This is part 2 for the Annunaki Gods from Planet Nibiru and the makers of man. Did I say that wrong? I think I said it right. I feel like I said it right. It doesn't matter. All right, so you can donate to the channel. There's a thanks button. All donations are appreciated. It's not required. You can request videos. If you donate, they get moved to the top of the list. If you don't, it just goes in an order. Subscribe if anything that I've made is interest to you. And if you say no to any of that, then just give me a thumbs up because that helps. And if you are someone who likes to comment in videos, leave comments. I try to get back to everyone. If I can't get back to you, I will give a thumbs up, but I can't always reply to everyone. But I do my best. So let's get into part 2.
After a brief stop on Mars, the Annunaki fleet arrived in Earth's orbit. The crew was stunned. The planet was a vibrant blue and green with swirling white clouds. Vast glimmering oceans seemed to go on forever. The planet was full of life in the sky, on land, and the sea below.
Yeah, Annunaki.
The Anunnaki marveled at Earth's beauty, but also felt sadness. Their home planet Nibiru was dying, and its people were suffering. But that sadness renewed their resolve. They were here for a purpose: mine all the gold needed to heal their atmosphere.
Annunaki.
A few ships remained in orbit, while others scouted the planet for a suitable landing site. Eventually, they settled on the lush green plains between the Euphrates and the Tigris rivers. Later, this area would become known as Mesopotamia, the Greek word for between two rivers. The ships landed, and the Igigi were put to work. The Igigi were a race of aliens that the Anunnaki conquered long ago. After the
Race of aliens, they look pretty human to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Igigi were defeated, they were enslaved. They've served the Anunnaki ever since. The Igigi look similar to the Anunnaki, who look similar to modern humans.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
I'm getting there. Igigi were between 12 and 15 feet tall and extremely strong. Where humans have somewhat round skulls, the Anunnaki and the Igigi, to some degree, have very large and often elongated skulls. These elongated heads have been depicted many times in ancient carvings and frescoes. The Igigi were given only 7 days to build the great city of Eridu, to be ruled by Anu's son, Enki. The Anunnaki were cruel and brutal to the Igigi.
The gods' load was great, the toil grievous, the trouble excessive. The great Anunnaki, the 7, were making me Igigi undertake the toil.
The city was completed on time. Then the Igigi dug mines and began mining gold. They mined gold day after day, year after year, for 150,000 years. The Igigi extracted gold by the ton, and ships began making round trips between Earth and Nibiru. Enki, ruling in his father Anu's name, was thrilled. He demanded more output. The slave masters used weapons like particle beams to force the Igigi to work harder and faster. Enki didn't want to abuse the workforce this way, but felt he had no choice. The atmosphere on Nibiru was all but stripped away. He wasn't sure the gold would get back home in time. Then, against his better judgment, Enki demanded even more output from the mines. The slave masters were told to use any means necessary to get this done, including torture. Soon, whispers of dissent circulated among the Igigi. Then the whispers became shouts. No longer would the Igigi allow themselves to be tortured, and no longer would they work the mines. Atrahasis, a famous leader of the Igigi, made the decision to rebel.
For too long have we languished under the yoke of the Anunnaki. We were born of the stars, yet condemned to the dark. It is time we seek the light. Now proclaim war. Let us combine hostilities and battle.
The rebellion was swift. The Igigi were intelligent and strong. They turned their tools into weapons, broke their chains, and fought the Anunnaki for their freedom. The city of Eridu became a battlefield, and gold mines collapsed from the uprising. The Igigi fought bravely, but they failed, and were put back in chains. Enki's brother Enlil had been overseeing the mining operations. He was furious. He wanted the Igigi killed for treason, but Enki felt differently. The Anunnaki and the Igigi had thousands of years of shared history.
Shall we meet defiance with tyranny, or can we forge a new destiny together?
The Igigi could not return to the mines, and Enki knew this. They would continue to rebel. But someone had to work the mines and do all the labor a large city requires. So Enki had an idea. In the forests were ape-like hominids. They had large brains, walked on two legs, and could use simple tools. They weren't intelligent enough to do the work the Anunnaki needed, but maybe they could become intelligent with just a little genetic engineering.
Okay.
There were groups of hominids living in the forest around the Anunnaki cities. These were our ancestors. They were either Homo heidelbergensis or Homo erectus.
Yeah.
Stop it. The Anunnaki took one of the hominid males and attempted to cross his genetics with the Anunnaki.
Yeah, Annunaki.
Enki wanted to create a creature that would be intelligent like the Igigi, but not too intelligent. They would be strong, but much smaller than the Igigi. They would be engineered to be submissive and much easier to control. The first experiments were done in a lab, and the results were horrific. Instead of creating a perfect being, the genetic experiments created monsters. Gorgons, Cyclops, Banshees, and two-headed giants. These monsters still live on in ancient stories. The Anunnaki changed their approach. They genetically spliced their DNA with that of a hominid female. Then, rather than grow the embryo in a lab, they implanted it in the female. It worked. Less than a year later, a child was born, a boy. He looked more like the Anunnaki than the ape-like creatures roaming the forest. They named the child Adamu.
Adamu, like Adam from Adam and Eve?
Yep. Adamu means first man. In Hebrew, the word also means from the ground or earth. In Genesis, God made Adam in his own image from the dust on the ground. In ancient Sumerian, Akkadian, and Babylonian texts, the creation of man is described the same way. Man is created in the image of the god or gods by mixing the blood of a god with the clay of the earth. Ancient Egyptians had a story of man being created by mixing a tear of a god with the clay of the earth. Blood, or even a tear, would contain DNA. And clay in ancient writings doesn't mean actual clay, it refers to all life on Earth. Every culture and religion has some variation of this story.
Not a coincidence.
Probably not. And there is that gap in...
You could also say one religion had it, and the others followed it. I'm not saying that's what happened, but you could say if they've all carried the same method, then they've copied. I'm not saying that's true, but you understand it. It's easy to look at someone else's start and just copy that and then now branch off and tell your own story.
History where hominids go from very simple primates to a very intelligent, advanced race. We're far more intelligent than any of the species before us. You'd think there'd be a slow but steady evolution of intelligence, but we don't see it. It's as if humans suddenly appeared. Dr. Ellis Silver wrote a book about this jump in evolution in his book, Humans Are Not From Earth. His theory says that humans were brought here by aliens. Now, whether brought here or created here, the theory says humans were genetically engineered using alien DNA. Dr. Silver claims that humans are not well suited to Earth's environment, while every other animal is. Why did we lose our fur? Human skin is very sensitive to sunlight and UV radiation. If we spend too much time in the sun, it leads to serious diseases, especially skin cancer. No other animals get sunburned. Mammals have fur or thick skin. Fish scales, even birds' feathers, all offer protection from the sun. Sure, pigs, elephants, and even reptiles can get burned, but they protect themselves by rolling around in mud or changing their skin. Now we have sunblock, but what did humans do to protect their skin 100,000 years ago? Also, humans are more susceptible to illness, disease, and birth disorders than other animals. I have 2 cats. I've had cats for years. I can't remember them ever getting sick. Buddy eventually got sick, but then he died. For 14 years, he never had so much as a cold. Now, I know cats, dogs, and animals do get sick, but not at the rate humans do. Dr. Silver mentions that humans tend to crave food that's bad for us. Salt, sugar, fat, carbs. We're surrounded by vegetables, nuts, and fruit, but most people would rather have a cheeseburger, fries, and a milkshake. I know I would. Back pain is another reason Dr. Silver thinks humans are not from Earth. He claims we're not designed for Earth's gravity. It's too heavy. He believes we evolved on a planet with lower gravity.
Like Nibiru.
Right. The Anunnaki were very human-like, but they were about twice our height, 12 to 15 feet tall. This would indicate they evolved on a planet with lower gravity than Earth. He presents a very compelling case backed up by science. I link to his book below. It's believed that Homo sapiens first emerged about 300,000 years ago. This is exactly the time of the Ajiji Rebellion. So back to the first man, Adamu. The Anunnaki also created a female, Hiva, so they could—
When I get that feeling, I want sexual healing. Sexual healing. It's
Marvin Gaye rules.
good for me. Continue.
The Anunnaki needed humans to procreate on their own, and they did, often. The Anunnaki guided this new race for a few hundred years. The population grew to thousands. The Anunnaki taught the new humans all the skills they needed to maintain the city, build homes, plant and harvest crops. But most importantly, the Anunnaki gave humans the skills to mine gold.
Yeah, Annunaki.
The Anunnaki were so pleased with their creation that they allowed humans to visit their sacred garden, Eden.
So, Adamu and Hiva in the Garden of Eden, eh?
According to ancient Sumerian writing, yes.
Sounds familiar.
Yep, there is a lot of the Anunnaki story in every major religion in the world. But now we run into a problem. Humans didn't look like apes at all. They looked pretty much like Anunnaki, just smaller. And human women were beautiful.
Uh-oh. That always means trouble.
One of these women caught the eye of Enki, the Anunnaki ruler of the city Eridu.
Yeah, and there it is. Hey, Enki, her eyes are up here.
But relationships between Anunnaki, Ajiji, and humans were strictly forbidden.
Don't sleep with the help.
Oh, come on, that's rude.
I'm serious. You get in trouble when you party with your employees. Just ask Arnold and Ben Affleck.
So Enki broke the law and had a relationship with a human woman. From this relationship, a child was born, a boy named Adapa. Until now, humans were very simple, docile beings, intelligent enough to do the work the Anunnaki needed, but not intelligent enough to complain about it. The birth of Adapa changed everything. He was part human, part Anunnaki. He was extremely intelligent. He married a woman named Atiti.
A titty?
Atiti.
What'd I say?
From the family of Adapa began a new line of highly intelligent humans, and they started asking questions. They inherited the Anunnaki's desire for gold and for power. But there was a bigger problem. Another trait emerged in this new line of intelligent humans, a trait that would shape the future of our entire species. That new trait was violence. In just a few years, the first generation submissive humans were gone. Some were murdered, but most just died out. The new humans had no interest in mating with them, but they still were interested in mating.
Get up, get up, get up, get up. Let's make love tonight.
Against the orders of the Anunnaki, these new, intelligent, violent humans procreated a lot.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, because you do it right.
Soon the city of Eridu was overrun. It could no longer sustain the human population. People were killing each other for food. The violence was out of control. Enlil was especially annoyed by the constant disturbance of humans. He decided to lessen the population by sending a series of plagues. First drought, then pestilence, and then famine. After each of these plagues, the humans appealed to the god who made them, Enki. He helped ease their suffering and return the earth to its natural state. By now, the Anunnaki had enough gold to heal their planet, and the humans had become a nuisance. The Anunnaki cast them out of Eden and out of Eridu, and from there the human race spread around the world. But not all humans left. Some stayed and had relationships with several Anunnaki. The children born of these relationships were extremely powerful demigods. Legendary figures like Gilgamesh, Samson, Hercules, and Perseus were the offspring of Anunnaki human unions. But some humans had relationships with the Igigi. These unions did not produce heroes. They produced monsters. These offspring were a race of giants called the Nephilim. They were cruel and brutal. They tormented and tortured humans, and in many cases, they ate them.
Nephilim episode link below.
Meanwhile, mankind flourished. Human settlements became cities, and cities became empires. Humans conquered all four corners of the earth. It was a prosperous, if not decadent time. But the human race didn't know their world was about to change, drastically. It first appeared in the night sky like any other star, but as the weeks passed, the object grew brighter and larger. Humans were confused and growing concerned. They had no idea what this object was, but the Anunnaki did. It was their home. Nibiru takes 3,600 years to orbit the sun, but its orbit is highly elliptical, so Nibiru travels way beyond Pluto nearly to the Kuiper Belt, then swings all the way back through the inner solar system. During this time, it comes very close to the Earth, so the Anunnaki started packing. They had enough gold to heal their atmosphere. There was no reason to stay on Earth anymore. Besides, when Nibiru got close to the Earth, they did not want to be on the surface.
No, this sounds ominous.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be bad.
How bad?
Well, imagine every disaster movie you've ever seen rolled into one cataclysmic event.
Okay, that's bad.
It's actually way worse.
Yeah, but what about the humans?
Oh, after Nibiru passes by the Earth, there won't be any humans left.
Oh no.
All right, I'm going to end it there. I was going to go to the 32-minute mark, but that's close enough. Okay. I'm not talking a whole lot. I'm just enjoying the video, so I apologize. I don't know much about them. It's pretty good. It's very interesting. Okay. Ow. I don't know why I just slapped myself. I hurt myself and then I slapped myself, so that makes sense. Okay, we're going to end this here. And I think I'm done for the night. Sorry. But until next time, there'll be a part 3 tomorrow. And until then, have a good day, have a good night.